So good morning, my name is Aishwarya and I'm going to be talking about the history of the queer community. Let's start at the beginning of the LGBTQ plus rights. The history of the LGBTQ plus community dates back to the ancient times. Evidence of same-sex relationships and gender non-conforming individuals can be found in various cultures throughout history. The fight for the LGBTQ plus rights began in the late 19th and early 20th century. LGBTQ plus individuals faced discrimination and persecution in India under the colonial rule. The British Empire imposed strict anti-sodomy laws in India, which was punishable to anybody who engaged in same-sex relationships. The stage was set for a long and difficult battle for the LGBTQ plus rights in India, around the world, and in India. So when we look at from the ancient times to the 19th century, LGBTQ plus individuals have existed in various cultures and societies. These individuals often face discrimination and persecution, especially in Rome, where homosexuality was considered a crime and punishable to death. But in ancient Greece, same-sex relationships were accepted and even celebrated. In India, depictions of same-sex relationships can be found in ancient art and literature, and also in some Hindu temples where same-sex depictions have been observed, which dates back thousands of years. Attitudes towards LGBTQ plus individuals in India vary depending on the time period and region. In the 19th century, anti-sodomy laws were introduced in many countries, including India, under the British colonial rule. These laws criminalized same-sex relationships. The introduction of anti-sodomy laws created a hostile environment for the LGBTQ plus individuals. The anti-sodomy laws set the stage for the fight for rights in the 20th century. Now, when we look at the 20th century, important events such as the Stonewall riots in New York City in 1969 occurred. The Stonewall was a place for queer members to commonly gather, and it was usually raided by the police, which was common at that time. But this particular day, in this particular month, June, people decided to riot. And it is important to note that the people who started the riot were mostly Black transgender women, and which led to a formation of activist groups and organizations such as Gay Liberation Front, and the month of June is celebrated as Pride Month. The fight for the LGBTQ plus rights in the 20th century also included the fight for same-sex marriage and anti-discrimination laws. The LGBTQ plus rights movement in the 20th century paved the way for progress towards equality and acceptance in the 21st century. LGBTQ rights in India. The fight for rights in India has been a long and difficult one, with discrimination and persecution faced here as well. However, there have been moments of progress and hope, such as the decriminalization of homosexuality in 2018. The fight for LGBTQ plus rights in India began in 1990s, and organizations such as NAS Foundation work to decriminalize homosexuality and promote awareness for LGBTQ plus issues. There was progress made despite setbacks and challenges. The progress, such as in 2018, the Indian Supreme Court made a landmark decision to decriminalize homosexuality. This decision marked a significant step towards equality and acceptance for all members of the LGBTQ plus community. The fight for the LGBTQ plus India is ongoing, with continued efforts needed to promote awareness and ensure full equality under the law. Despite this victory, there is still much work to be done to ensure full legal protection and societal acceptance for LGBTQ plus individuals in India. Organizations such as the Humsafar Trust continue to work towards these goals, providing support and advocacy for the community. There are many challenges faced despite the progress in the LGBTQ plus community. They still face discrimination, violence, lack of legal protection. These are just some of the issues that impact them on a daily basis. This map shows marriage that is legal, same-sex marriage or marriage equality legal in only 34 countries. Even though marriage has been, same-sex relationships has been decriminalized in India, it's still not legal to get married. However, there have been moments of progress and hope, such as legalization of same-sex marriage in many countries and growing acceptance of transgender individuals. It is important to continue the fight for the LGBTQ plus rights and work towards a more equal and inclusive society for all. Now, when we look towards the future, it is important to remember that the progress made by the LGBTQ plus community and celebrate. Continuing to fight for rights and equality includes advocating for legal protection. Supporting LGBTQ plus organizations and businesses is another way to promote equality, and promoting awareness and acceptance in our communities, such as Wings Within's Pride Month celebration, is essential to creating a society that is equitable for all. Working together and standing up for what is right can create a better future for the LGBTQ plus individuals and societies as a whole and all the generations to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Aishwarya, to presenting the different historical movements leading to LGBTQ community.
Gender stereotypes. So what is a stereotype? Stereotype is a generalized belief about a particular category of people and the expectations that people have towards them in society. When gender, the element of gender comes into this, it becomes gender stereotype. So a generalized view about attributes that are ought to be possessed by people because of their gender is gender stereotype. For example, growing up, we have always been told what we should do, like based on our gender. If you're a woman, you have to do this. If you're a man, you have to do that. If you're a woman, you can't do this. If you're a man, you can't do that. That's what gender stereotype is, basically. And based on that, we have been also assigned gender roles that play a very important part in our day-to-day activities and also our mental health as well. First, very common phrase that we've all heard, "Mard ko dard nahi hota," men can't feel pain, which is again very not positive thing for men and their mental health because they often tend to suppress whatever they're feeling because of this, because they have been taught to do so. They're like their upbringing was like that, where they have been taught you can't express what you feel, you can't show your emotional experiences or anything that ought to be shared. And there's always the division that girls and women are generally expected to dress in typical feminine ways and be polite, accommodating, and nurturing. Men are generally expected to be strong, aggressive, and bold. And if somebody, a man who is very caring, who is emotional, who loves doing that is feminine, they are being discriminated against, which is very wrong. And that's what uh, that's what creates gender discrimination, basically. Now, coming to appearance and beauty standards, imposing ideals of physical attractiveness and grooming on individuals based on their gender, such as expecting women to have a certain body shape or men to exhibit a particular level of strength, it also creates discrimination, not only between men and women, but also other sexual orientations or gender identities that tend to express themselves in a similar pattern. For example, if a man is dressing up as um, woman like in feminine ways and wearing makeup or dressing up like he wants to, they won't be considered as normal, which first of all is homophobic in the sense that they are called out for that. They're called maybe gay or homophobic slurs, which is wrong. But even if they are gay, even if they belong to LGBT, it's all right. They don't have to be called out for that for no reason. And society often associates specific behavior, interests, and appearances with certain genders. Individuals who defy these expectations, such as men who expresses emotions openly or women who pursue careers in male-dominated fields, may face stereotypes and bias. So that again is not a good thing to do. That should be stopped. And then comes in toxic masculinity. Toxic masculinity is again when a man is showing his emotion, crying, dressing up like he wants to, and is facing discrimination because he's supposed to act in a particular way as a man. So world is kind of divided into masculinity and femininity, where men are supposed to follow masculinity and women are supposed to follow femininity. And it's just bound to that. When somebody tries to do something out of these two categories, they are termed as not normal and their mental health is affected side by side because of the pressure and the judgments they face. And also colors. Blue is often associated with men and pink is associated with women, which is also problematic because uh, It's okay for men to like pink and any other colors, not just blue and pink. World doesn't revolve around these two. So, and then we move on to gender stereotype and molding the experiences of LGBTQ community. So the expectations of behavior and appearance that people have towards genders creates a sense of pressure and fear of judgment. So many people who belong to LGBTQ community, they cannot express their gender in the way they want to. They cannot dress up like the way they want to. They cannot wear makeup if they want to, with some men. And similarly, they cannot come out as well. They cannot say that they belong to the community because, again, there's a specified uh, rule set out for them that expects them to be that way. And then gender stereotypes often reinforce the assumption that heterosexuality is the norm, marginalizing and erasing the experiences of LGBTQ community. They believe heterosexuality is superior than any other sexualities, which is wrong because everyone is different in their way, and it's okay to be that way. You don't have to invalidate that. And then LGBTQ individuals may also face stereotypes and assumptions about their identity, which can be harmful, perpetuating biases and misconceptions. For example, bisexual people often get this line that you are into woman. Why do you have to date a man? Because I thought you were from every community, which is again not true because it's their sexual orientation and their preference that they would know better than anyone else, and which should be respected and validated. So, what can we do to stop gender stereotype playing a role in our everyday lives? And what can we do to be a better self version of ourselves? So first, normalize things. Normalize men showing their identity in the way they want to, express their identity in the way they want to. Normalize not calling out them just because they have done something they like. Normalize men and women sharing household responsibilities together, not just women taking care of the child or just women playing the major household parts. Just normalize sharing things and normalize being who you are. That's what we want. And change starts with us. Even though we see changes happening, it's not enough. Have to implement that in our lives. That is what is important. Thank you.
Thank you, Sansita, to presenting the what other stereotypes is facing by LGBTQ community. Thank you.